Welcome to another episode of I Quit My Job. In this episode, we have no other than Marcilla. Marcilla is a health advocate, mental health advocate. She's going to share her life journey, and she's going to talk about her new show. Like, she has a podcast, and so it's cool, to have other hosts share their light, share their story, why they're doing their podcast. So she has her lived experience. And so Marcilla is going to share a lot of that experience. So, Marcilla, thank you so much for showing up and accepting our invitation to come on here and to kind of share your stories and your ideas about mental health and just being that advocate because, we need it. And as, like you said earlier in the green room, our community needs it and to understand more about it. So, welcome. So, why don't you just let us know what you're currently doing?
Well, thank you so much for having me first and foremost. Again, it's my name is Marcelia, and I am in the social service work field. I work in a shelter as well as I work in an office, and I support the vulnerable population in society. So people who are struggling with mental health, substance use, homelessness, people that struggling as well with human trafficking, sexual abuse, individuals. So I do support and provide services for them. I have been in the field for over 6 years. And yeah, and I decided that I would like to launch a podcast as based on what I am seeing in the field. Mental health is on the rise and it has been since COVID and even more worse since post COVID. So a lot of people are struggling with no one to talk to, no one they can turn to, and can't get the help that they need.
How did you get into mental health from your personal experiences, and how did you recognize what mental health is?
To be honest, I didn't really want to be in this field. I didn't even know about this field. When I was younger, I wanted to be a lawyer.
Nice.
But unfortunately, my life journey took me to another part in a different direction when it comes to career. And I was going through a lot for a few years. And based on my circumstances, it led me to this field. I struggle with mental health as well. I was diagnosed with PTSD, depression, and anxiety disorder. So I know firsthand what mental health is like and know that we do need help, especially in our community, in the Black community. And I am from the Caribbean, so we do not talk about mental health at all. It is a really touchy subject to talk about, if at all. So because they don't really understand what it is. So basically, I have to go through it by myself with no one to talk to.
Wow. So when you're going through that journey and you're going through it by yourself, for you to recognize, how did you recognize it? Like, to say the word mental health.
Well, while I was in school, I was going through depression, but I didn't know it at the time. And I went to one of my professors because I was really slacking on my work, on my assignment. I wasn't able to pick myself up. Some days I can't get out of bed, like the blinds are closed. My phone, I don't pick it up. I don't talk to anyone. And when I'm in class, it's like I just can't pay attention. And I went to one of my professors, and she recommended me to the counselor. We had counselors in school.
Wow.
So she recommended me to the counselor. And then that's where, everything started coming out. And she started recognizing that and, shed light on it that I am going through depression. And then took it a step further. I went to my doctor and let him know my symptoms. And he let me know that, okay, you are having like depression, anxiety disorder.
Wow.
And that's how I recognize that I struggle with mental health, or I am struggling with mental health.
Wow. While you were saying that, I'm just thinking, there's so much that you have to recognize on yourself, and you took those steps on your own to, even you took those steps even to go to your teacher, even to for them to make that next step, and then for you to even go to your doctor. I think that's amazing because now it starts to make sense of like why you'd want to be in that mental health industry, and then why you'd want to serve or help people get to that level. So, what was that first day like when they said to you, "Hey, you have this mental disorder"? How did you take that?
Well, growing up in an environment that we don't talk about mental health. We don't really know what it is. We don't understand what it is. So I kind of like brush it off. They gave me prescription medication, antidepressant, and I'm like, I'm not going to take that because, I'm in the field and I see what it does to people who take it.
Mhm.
So it's like they have hallucinations and stuff like that. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to take that because I don't want that to happen to me. I know firsthand what it's like and what it does. So I'm not going to take it. So I still try to brush it off and still try to like pray it away, because I'm a firm believer in God. So I still try to pray it away and say like, I'll be okay, but it just wouldn't go away.
Wow.
So I have to like take it into my hands and be like, okay, I do need help and I need to do what is best for me because I have a daughter and I need to be here for her as well.
So what kind of advice would you give somebody who's now just been diagnosed with mental health disorder?
I would say just to listen to the advice of your health professional. They know what they're talking about and get help. If you see the signs, if you're having any form of struggles, if you realize that you're stressing too much, you can't get out of bed, that's a sign for you to take the necessary steps that you need to get the help that you need to get better. And talk to someone, even if you don't want to go to a doctor. Talk to someone that you trust, if it's a trusted friend, because I also understand there is stigma around mental health. So people don't really like to talk to people about it because of the judgment that they will receive from others. So they rather keep it to themselves, but don't do that because it will only get worse. So get help.
What was your support for you to move forward and say, hey, let me get through it?
Well, in school, I had the support. But again, because like my sister's like my best friend. Hey, sis. So she's like my best friend, but she don't really understand mental health. And she's someone that I would go to talk to about anything. But mental health is something that she doesn't understand. And I just think that I don't really have like a strong support outside of that. So I struggle with it by myself. I have friends that I could talk to and they will give me advice, and pick me up and stuff like that. And sometimes my sister will be like, aren't you coming out the house? Like, why are you in the house? You're going to go crazy up there. But in my mind, I'm like, I'm already going crazy.
Wow.
But it's like, I don't really want to put that on her because she doesn't really understand and she wouldn't know what to say to me.
You being this mental health advocate, was there any setbacks that made you realize in your life, as you can, speak of? Give us an example and how you made it through.
I'm going to touch a bit on my life. I don't do this a lot. When I was 18, I was homeless, struggling. I just came to Canada, got in some problems, and I had to move out of the place where I was staying. And then I was staying with a family friend. And I guess they decided they didn't want me there. So they started to close their door when they leave, knowing that I didn't have a key. And I find myself homeless. I used to sleep in cars and staircases, like couch surfing on people's couch. And I had this one friend, she used to open her door when I used to be in the staircase. Her mom used to leave in the mornings and I used to wait. And as soon as her mom leaves, then she used to open the door and bring me in so that I could come and get like a proper sleep, get something to eat. I wasn't landed here or I wasn't a permanent resident. I didn't have any status, basically. So at that time I was struggling, didn't really have anyone because at the time, my sister and I, we weren't on good terms. So she didn't really know what was going on with me. So it was just like I was just by myself. And then I really, really struggled. And my mental health, it just took a turn for the worse. I had thoughts of suicide. And, luckily, God was there on my side. He picked me up and I kept going. I had my daughter. And everything just turned around from there because now I have someone to live for. And I just continued to keep going and I
Wow.
didn't give up.
Wow, that's remarkable. That's remarkable. So in doing all of that, right? In that resilience, in that you're on your own, you're building. So if somebody's going through that right now, what do you say to them?
I would tell them to just keep going. It's never the same. It never goes on forever. There is always a way out. You just need to continue to keep pushing, keep being resilient, persevere, because at the end of every dark tunnel, you will see a light somewhere. You just don't give up, because I have thoughts of suicide. Like I was thinking, I was in the kitchen looking at the knife and I'm like, what if I just end it all? But then I think about my daughter. Every time I think about that, it's just her that keeps flashing in my mind. And I just said, like, I have to keep going on. Find your why, and that will get you up out of bed and get you going and get you the help that you do need, because men do struggle for mental health as well. And it's
Right,
harder for
right,
them
right.
because they're taught not to speak about their emotions, not to cry, not to complain about their emotions. And it's really hard. So find your why and pick yourself up.
And so, like you mentioned something very interesting about men, like you said, they have the stigma. They got to walk strong. They got to be proud. They got to be alpha. And, they're breaking down somewhere every 2 minutes, and I
Yeah.
can personally say that, like going through certain things, I've broken down.
Yeah.
What do you say to those men?
Well, I would say, to be honest, like being macho, it's with mental health, it's not really going to help you, because like you're not going to have the mindset to ask for the help that you need, and you're dying inside and you can't say anything. But I must say society makes it really bad as well for men. What do you mean you're suffering from depression? What do you mean you have anxiety? So at the end of the day, you really have to understand what you're feeling. You have to take the necessary precaution to get the help that you need, because it doesn't matter what gender it is. Mental health, you can't say, okay, well, you know what? I have something to do today, so come back tomorrow.
So, in what you've seen in your lived experience, how important is that?
Mental health can lead to mental illness, which is when it is really serious, because mental health is just like you're going to the gym, you're eating healthy, you're exercising, you're doing everything that you possibly can to feel good.
Right.
But sometimes when your mental health is deteriorating, it can lead to mental illness. And that is when you're in danger.
Wow.
It is two completely different things.
Wow.
Mental health is something that we all have it, but it depends on experiences that we have in life that triggers it. And then mental illness is something that can prevent you from living like your daily lives. Like, you can't get out of bed. Depression is a mood disorder. Anxiety is a mood disorder. That's mental illness. PTSD is mental illness. Schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, those are mental illness. Mental health is different. It's how you take care of yourself.
How would you set a work environment for those that are going through mental health? Because that's rather important. Everybody strives to work, but they're at this environment that don't give one, two about their mental health. Just show up on time. So how would you have a supportive work environment?
I would say just to, if you recognize, I think you should pay attention to your employees, whoever you are, whatever job that you're working, pay attention to your employees. And again, if you see an employee is not coming to work on time, they're always late, they're calling off all the time, like more than usual, pay attention, ask what is going on. If they need help, create an open environment for people to talk to you, because workplaces like in our field, they do have like counseling, and they offer mental health support. But sometimes, again, because it is a work environment, people don't really want to speak or say exactly what they want to say because they think it's going to affect their job. But I will say just to create a safe environment, a comfortable environment that people can come to you and speak to you about mental health or what is going on.
What would you do personally in your own setup?
So me, I would have an open door concept.
Mhm.
So it doesn't matter whether they're skipping work or if they're slacking off in job. Like, I would do a check-in like every week to see where your mental health is, because the work that we do, it is very, very, it's mentally, emotionally draining. So I would not wait until someone is struggling to actually, step in and say, okay, I'm going to offer help. I will offer it in the same time because we
Okay.
struggle a lot. And me being in the field, I know what it's like.
Mm.
So I would have, maybe like a debriefing session, like after every week is ended, and just check in, like, how are you feeling? I know we have this situation today. How are you feeling? If someone wants to take a day off, a mental health day, offer that,
Mm.
so
Wow,
that people
wow.
can recuperate and get their mind back together to come and do the job that they need to do.
You really know this stuff in terms of the human side of it. So, what's your podcast going to be about?
Encouragement Corner is going to be about,
And that's the name of it, Encouragement Corner.
yes.
Nice.
So it's going to be about mental health. So it's just basically touching on mental health, what it's about, a little bit about what I just explained here today. So what it's about, and just give like a platform for people who are struggling and who hasn't even like recognized that they are struggling, to actually listen to other people's story and, find the courage to go get the help that they need, and actually, take that first step, and to also recognize like they're not the only one.
And so you will have like, I guess, different guests from different fields. They'll be able to come in and speak on mental health.
Yeah.
Wow. So then your platform then is almost like an educational platform.
Thank
Is there
you for
anything else
having
you'd
me.
like to share?
Keep going. Don't give up. Life is hard, but it's hard in everyone. So continue to keep fighting through whatever it is that you're going through. Your mental health matters. You matter. You're worth it. You deserve to be here. So don't give up.
And what's the name of your podcast again?
Encouragement Corner.
Nice. This is a gem here. Thank you so much, Marcella.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure being here.
Thank you for focusing. Peace.